Welcome back to Latina Money Diaries, baby girls. I'm your host, Itzel. On the last episode, I shared how I survived being broke, college student, navigating life on my own, and leaning on the kindness of friends when things felt impossible. We talked about those moments when people felt out of reach and the tears that came out with it, but also the small wins that kept me going. And just to reference, I know the audio was terrible the last time. I am a new podcaster, so the microphone that I have is new and I didn't know it had a volume button. Yeah, let's just leave it at that. Anyway, today I did want to pick up right where we left off and just to give you guys a little backstory of it, I think this is going to be the last episode of my history before I jump into like the meet and greedy, like the good stuff, like the stuff people want to hear, the stuff people want to listen to, the stuff that you're here for. I don't know if you're here for my backstory, but if you're not, I'm good with that. You're here to learn and you're here to have a good time. So grab your cafecito and let's get to it. So, the story of getting back on my feet in Dallas, juggling school and work, and learning some of my first big lessons about survival, hustle, and resilience. So, let's jump back to January 2010. I came back to Dallas as a broke student. I came back with nothing but faith and ganas. Like, I had so much inside of me that I did not want to quit. I was like, I'm not doing this. Like, I'm not going to be stuck in my hometown doing nothing. And my mindset was, I don't want to stay here. I want to keep going. So, one of my good friends, her name was Norma, I stayed in touch with her and we became really close before me leaving. And we were both actually really sad when I left, but we kept in touch and we always texted. And she was really, really sad because she was like my best friend. Like, I had made friends with everybody, but she was the one I was closest with since leaving. She opened her heart and her couch to me. So she was also from the valley and she knew the struggle. Her boyfriend at the time even helped me land a job waitressing at Olive Garden. So when I came back from the valley, which was probably around January as well, I started working at Olive Garden. That is probably till this day one of my favorite jobs. It was amazing. I wasn't struggling as much and I just really liked it. And you get money every day. Being a waitress, you get money every day. And sometimes they were like 60, 70, $80 days, but sometimes it was like over $100 days. So it paid the rent, it paid the bills. But anyway, I promised myself this was just temporary. I saved every little bit that I could, and by April of 2010, we were finally able to upgrade to a two-bedroom apartment. I had my own room, they had their own room, and it felt like progress. I was working full time and going to school full time. And honestly, it wasn't a big deal to me, but I was just trying to breathe again. I was so excited to have a room on my own, a bed of my own, and it just felt good. I was really good once I came back, and I was a little bit more careful with my money because when I came back, I came again from zero. I mean, I had money saved up, but it wasn't enough for me to buy stuff or anything like that. And the first time I had moved, like all the furniture was available to me because it was in a dorm. So I didn't really have to do anything basically or buy anything, just comforter and like the basic stuff. So that's what I did. And it was honestly it was good. Um, but let me tell you, baby girls, sometimes sharing resources is survival. Whether it's a couch, a meal, or a ride, survival seasons are temporary, but they teach you how to stretch every dollar and prioritize your needs. And at that time, I really needed that. But life doesn't always let you catch your breath, of course. By July 2010, my car had completely gave out on me. I'll never forget the day. I was on my way to work. It was pouring rain, thunder in the sky, and there I was, stranded on the side of the road, broke, crying, and feeling like everything was falling apart again. I got deja vu. I had no money to fix the car, obviously. No family nearby rescue me. No credit to even think about financing something reliable. So when I lived back home and I had car problems or a flat tire or a dead battery or whatever, I would call my dad. We lived in the same town. So I would call my dad, and my dad would just be like, "Where are you at?" And just stay inside. Don't get it out of the car. Blah, 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 blah. Okay, whatever. So he would get there, and we would switch vehicles basically. He would fix whatever he needed to fix or did whatever he needed to do, but I was gone with his vehicle. Whatever vehicle he was driving, I was gone. So I was used to that. And obviously in Dallas, when that happened, I didn't have that. And I did miss that part when that happened. I was like, dang it. Like, I wish I had like my dad, a brother, a cousin, an uncle, someone that would have helped me, and I didn't have it. And that that honestly sticks with me because now my now husband, when I have a flat tire or something happens to my car, my husband is so upset and tells me, "I don't know why your dad didn't teach you this. This is life. What is life skill? Like, this is normal life skills. It's like cooking skills for men. And like, this should be your dad should have taught you this. I'm going to make sure the girls learn how to at least change a tire or at least check the battery and always have like, what do they call the thing that again, I don't know anything. That thing that's called where you charge your battery if it goes dead. The cables, yeah. Like he's like, I'm gonna make sure that the girls have cables in their vehicle all the time, and I'm gonna teach him how to change a tire because you don't know how to do crap. Like your dad spoiled you, blah 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 blah. He did. He didn't teach me. So again, another life lesson that I had to learn miles and miles away in 2010. But anyways, I called my manager and I told him what happened, and he sent someone to pick me up. And later my coworkers helped me tow my car back home. That manager doesn't know it, but he had the kindest soul, and he doesn't know that he acted as a father, and its memory I will never forget. Like I will never forget that manager because of what he did, and he knew the situation I was in. I don't know if he was just like, I'm a dad and I also know the struggle and I have a child or whatever it was, but that night I did call my parents in tears, of course. My mom stepped in like an angel she is, and she agreed to get me a car under her name. I would make the payments, but she covered the insurance until I could get back on my feet. My dad even came all the way to Dallas the day that my mom got the car. He came over here to pick up the broken vehicle and deliver the one that my mom had gotten for me. He got his best friend to help him, and they were in and out of Dallas in less than an hour. I just want to take a moment and let y'all know I have the best parents anyone could ask for. Maybe they didn't give me money and they didn't have any resources, but they definitely never left my side. And they did what they could with what they had and what they knew. And they will, at till this day, they will do everything for me and my daughters in any way, shape, or form that they're able to do. So I want you guys to understand that my parents, I love them to death. Like I am obsessed with them. Side note, we talk on the phone every single freaking day. Every day. Till this day, I'm already married with kids and everything. And I still talk to them every single day. Why? Because I'm so in love with them and I'm so obsessed with him and I'm so grateful for them because I cannot blame them. This whole situation that happened and me moving and me being broke, that was my fault. That was not them. They told me to stay back home and they would help me as much as they could from home. But I wanted to leave. So that's what happened. And they did everything they could on their end. So I just want you guys to know that I'm not discrediting my parents in any way, shape, or form. Anyway, back to the story. So, anyway, I ran out of breath with that. So, anyway, you already know what that meant for me. I had to pick up every extra shift I could because, reliable or not, that car came with a payment. It was a little Nissan Rogue, I think. Was it a Nissan Rogue? I think it was a Nissan Rogue. It was a little SUV, red. I was obsessed with it at the time. But that's the vehicle that they did give my mom gave me options, but that's the one I chose. And survival mode was my only mode at that point after having a freaking car payment. And that was my first car payment in 2010. 20 years old with a car payment. But that's not here nor there. Anyway, reliable transportation. Obviously, it was not a luxury, it was a necessity. And sometimes that means debt. But if you have to take on a payment, make sure you always budget for it first before you even go there. I honestly didn't have an option. So I had to figure it out to hustle with every shift so I can cover my payment. And that discipline builds credit and character, to be quite honest, because that's when I really started realizing that nothing is free. Then came a blessing after. So I'm gonna call my friend Joey. If you've listened to episode 2, you'll remember the friend who once lent me gas money when I was at my lowest. That same friend, Joey, he was now working at Sprint. If you guys don't know, if you're the younger generation, Sprint was bought by T-Mobile. It's a cell phone store. And he was making decent money, a lot more than me for sure. And he offered me to get an interview with his manager. He really didn't have to, but he did. He was also an amazing friend. And in September 2010, I got the job at Sprint. It was an entry level, but it was corporate. And for me, it was a foot in the door. We actually became roommates for almost 3 years since we were both surviving college and working a full time job. That season of my life taught me something big. The kind of friends that you keep matter without them. I wouldn't have had those opportunities. I didn't see it then, but now I know. I was blessed. Your network is your net worth. The people around you can open doors you didn't even know existed. That's why it's important to have good friendships. It's extremely important to be curious, to be picky, to not have certain energies, to not have certain people in your life as much as you want to have them in your life. It's not good for you. It's not good for your mental health. It's not good for your anything. Anyway, I'm not going to go there. But anyway, having good friendships and good friends makes a difference, and it can change your whole path. I honestly don't have any regrets. So from there, survival came hustle. It was full time. I knew it was going to be a full time job, and I didn't know that it came with overtime sometimes. So, overtime, whenever they offered it, especially when the iPhone launched, oh God, it was a wild ride because back then you used to go one day before and wait in line. I don't know if they still do that. Worked I haven't worked at Sprint since 2016. So, I don't know how it is right now. I'm sure everybody just orders their phone online and they get it a few days after launch or something. I don't know. But I was working full time and I was still in school. So I graduated in 2011, but I wasn't done. I re enrolled and I kept pushing. I had this fire inside me that I wanted more for myself. So I finally graduated again in 2014. And it was the best feeling ever. I remember it was June 2014. I was at my thinnest in my whole entire adult life. And I had a manager position, I think, at that point. I don't know if it was before or after. It's been so long. But honestly, this time, things were different. With Sprint, I wasn't just surviving, I was learning how to sell when I worked there. I was learning how to deal with people, how to build confidence, and then the commission checks kept me afloat. The base pay was nice, but the extra between $500 to $1,500 a month that gave me breathing room, I hustled for that. And I learned to rely on my own effort. Eventually, I moved up to a sales manager, not because someone handed it to me. Nobody gave me anything, but because I had bills to pay, goals to reach, and no other choice but to succeed. So by 2014, I was in a management position. I had been with Sprint for about 4 years. I was getting paid very well compared to any 24-year-old that I knew. I remember I was one of the youngest managers in the region. I remember I was one of the youngest ones. But yeah, 2014, oh man, that year, whew, that year tested me. From January, that last semester, especially that semester though, that semester from January to June, I was a full time student, like a full time student and a half. Like a regular student takes 4 classes, this girl was taking six classes. And then I was a manager at work, so obviously 40 plus hours. And I think it was taking 6 classes starting January of 2014. I was a manager at Sprint. And on top of that, I had started my fitness journey. Well, I started my fitness journey in 2014, but I took it serious in 2014 when I really saw the pounds going down, down, down. So stress literally got me. I remember, I think it was like April or May, I busted a vein on my eye. Like in my eye, you could see the blood around my eyeball. I couldn't even see the door some days. My life was work, school, gym, meal prep Sundays because eating out wasn't in the budget. That was not an option. But that's where I learned to meal prep in 2014. That's when I learned proper meal prepping and living in a really tight budget because I also had to pay for school. I had run out of all the money that I could borrow, and I had to pay, I think it was 850, 860. It was less than 900 and more than 800. I could tell you that. And if I didn't pay, they wouldn't allow me to even go to class. So I didn't have an option for that either. But, it is what it is. Anyway, oh, by the way, I was paying every year a little bit of just a little bit. That's why I was always broke. I was paying a small portion, but that January 2014 hit with like 800 and some dollars. I remember I was paying like 160 to 30, 180 a month for school, but this one was like, girl, 800 and some dollars. I was like, what? But anyway, something beautiful in the struggle came. By then, I had already paid off all my credit cards. I was paying school out of pocket, and I had built up a credit score of 750. And I learned how to stretch every single dollar so I never had to move back home. Living on a budget doesn't mean living with joy. It means discipline now for freedom later. Pay off debt, cook at home, plan your money. Your future self will thank you. I remember like sometimes when I didn't have money and I needed to eat healthy, I would buy frozen broccoli and chicken breasts, and I think I would buy beans or rice or something. Nothing fancy, no sauces, no nothing. It was just literally salt, pepper, or I would put like chicken and vegetables in the crock pot and let it like cook all night, and then I had food for like, I don't know. I would eat the same damn thing for like a whole week or something. But I was disciplined. I lost 70 pounds, 80. Yeah, I lost about 80 pounds, had a lot of muscle, the good old days. And lo and behold, in July 2014, that's when I met my husband. I graduated June 30th, and July I had met my husband. By the end of the year, we were living together, and not long after, we found out we were expecting my first baby girl that made me a mom. So that was fun. But here's a little truth: we weren't financially ready. We were two young kids. I mean, we weren't kids, but at the same time, we were kids. We were in our 20s. I had my oldest when I was 25, so I got pregnant at 24. But we were trying to figure it out. I mean, we were young. And what kills me? is that I knew about government help. All my family members and cousins and aunts and uncles, I knew they all had government help. So that first year as parents was pure survival. We were budgeting every single penny. We were sacrificing sleep and learning the hard way that financial unpreparedness feels like. I really thought having a baby was not that expensive until I found out I don't qualify for Medicaid or SNAP or even EBT. We paid out of pocket, and that's me having insurance through where I work, about 2 grand on hospital bills. And I had my oldest daughter on formula milk because I only breastfed her for like 3 months, 4 months, and then I dried out. If you know, you know. So she was on formula, and I was paying out of pocket, as well as diapers and everything else that nobody talks about that come with having a baby. I went back to work about 6 weeks after having a baby because at the time we couldn't afford for me to stay home. And that's when postpartum depression hit. So next week, we're diving into my first big career move after becoming a mom. The job that changed me, taught me so much, and set the stage for everything that's about to come. You don't want to miss. Thank you so much for listening, baby girls. If you enjoyed today's episode, make sure to subscribe, follow, and share with your amigas so you never miss an episode. You can find Latina Money Diaries wherever you listen to podcast, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your cafecito and podcast fix. You let me know. Just go follow me. And remember, baby girls, money doesn't have to control you. You control it. I'll be here every week walking this journey with you. Gracias for listening, baby girls, and I'll catch you in the next episode. Bye.